Oh no, I forgot to hit record. Oh well. No, I paused recording. It's okay. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. One day I wrote her name upon the strand, but came the waves and washed it away. Again I wrote it with a second hand, but came the tide and made my pains his prey. Vain man, said she, that dost in vain essay a mortal thing so to immortalize. For I myself shall like to this decay, and eke my name be wiped out likewise. Not so, quote I, let baser things devise to die in dust, but you shall live by fame. My verse your virtues rare shall eternize, and in the heavens write your glorious name. Where, when his death shall all the world subdue, our love shall live, and later life renew. Yeah.
So that's the address.
Yes. So, question?
No, it wasn't a question.
Okay, so to repeat the question, what effect does this rhyme scheme have on the poem?
It makes the one that the beauty
Mm-hmm.
makes it just stand out because there's more emphasizing the
Okay, so that repetition leads to emphasis. Yeah.
Like when the rhyme like when it changes, you kind of understand like a new, not like a new subject, but like you just understand like I don't know how to explain it.
So, like this shift here where you have the repeated rhyme,
Yeah.
because that's really the only place it gets repeated, it stands out. Yikes, killer! What'd that table do to you?
Nothing.
Right, so when two lines next to each other rhyme, it's emphasized, and you notice it.
Yeah, I guess like when after the first four lines, then that's when she's whoever I can't figure out who's talking, but when she starts talking, you kind of like at first he's saying something that he's doing, and then she starts talking. So it's like, and that's also when the rhyme changes. You kind of understand that we're moving to the next idea, I guess, sort of.
Yeah, very good. That's a good thing to notice. So you see, the first quatrain is a description of what? Look at the content. So it's one day I wrote her name upon the strand. So it's an I, right? So the narrator wrote her name on the strand or the beach, right, in the sand. But came the waves and washed it away. But it is a description of his action, right? The second quatrain, what's being done there? Yeah, she's speaking, right? So you have that break into the quatrain, or you have a new quatrain. It's just her speaking, whoever she is. Generally, the object of the love being expressed in a sonnet, I usually refer to her or him as the beloved, whoever the beloved is. Right, because not just guys write sonnets. Where are we going to? I don't think we will get close enough. There's like the poem "How Do I Love You? Let Me Count the Ways." That's by a girl. It is Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and she wrote it. So this is a fun story that I'll tell really quick. So Elizabeth Barrett Browning had a very controlling father. She fell in love. She was Elizabeth Barrett at the time. she fell in love with this dashing young man named Robert Browning. Now, Robert Browning did not come from money. He did not have very good prospects. But Elizabeth was deeply in love with him. Well, her father, as fathers are wont to do, banished him from his property, then uses political connections to get him kicked out of the country. This is in England. Get him kicked out of the country. Now, during this time, Elizabeth and Robert are sneaking messages to each other. Elizabeth's her like handmaid, or I guess like her servant, is the one where they're mailing messages to each other. And in this, Elizabeth writes a series of sonnets, love sonnets to him, and it's sent to him. Eventually, she runs away. They get married, and they live in Italy happily ever after. And she becomes incredibly obsessed with the minutiae of local Italian politics, which is my favorite thing about her. But because it's so weird. But these sonnets were collected. It's called Sonnets from the Portuguese, and it's her collection of love sonnets she wrote to him while she was essentially, in isolation. He was banished from the country. It's a great love story. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, he wrote stuff back. He became really well known as a poet during his life, but she's kind of overtaken him, as people have read. Because hers are, they're a lot more heartfelt. Yeah. He's a very kind of straight Victorian poet. Kind of just, he doesn't do a whole lot of special stuff while she plays with sounds. Anyway, yes.
So we're just people like making random things about somebody. Would the person who was the object of their love know that?
Not necessarily. And actually, Petrarch started this convention of writing love poems addressed to an idealized beloved. And his was named Laura. Laura didn't exist. She's not a real person. We know Beatrice existed, but we also know Dante met her 3 times before she died, because she died when she was 21, something. And Dante met her. Dante saw her on the street twice and talked to her once, but she was his beloved. It was idealized, right? She was made perfect in his mind. And so this convention of constructing an idealized beloved and writing to her, it just kind of became the convention in love poetry. Now we'll see this convention get subverted next class when we read Shakespeare, because he plays with this. It's a lot of fun. But anyway. And then the third quatrain is Spenser speaking back to her. And then the heroic couplet is where he takes this statement and he makes, he takes their love from just being something grand and eternal to being something divine, right? Because what has the power to create the universe? God. Their love will recreate the universe, right? Kind of a big deal. So one day I wrote her name upon the strand. So writes her name, and then what happens? Waves come, wash it away. So he writes it again. Waves come, made his pains their prey, right? Wash it away again. And then she, right, because girls are generally much more practical about these things than men, it's just, don't, you're being vain. You can't do this. That dust in vain to say, a mortal thing so to immortalize. Right? She's like, I'm mortal. Quit trying to make me immortal. For I myself shall like to this decay, and eke my name you wiped out likewise. Right? So decaying, going away, and also her name fading. She's okay with it. She's accepted it. Yeah. This is Elizabethan English. Also, Spenser purposely spelled stuff and used vocabulary out of early Middle English and out of Old English because he wanted his writing and poetry to seem like it was from that era, because he was obsessed with that era. Right? If you think about the Fairy Queen's a medieval romance, right? But it wasn't written in the medieval period. But he's imitating those conventions because he really likes them. So he's imitating their spelling because he wants to recreate it. I can't hear you. Pretty much. He had a very high view of himself. Obviously, from this. Not so, quote I, let baser things devise to die in dust, but you shall live by fame. Right, so no, I'm not going to let you fade away. My verse your virtues rare shall eternize, and in the heavens write your glorious name. So she will become immortal through what? His poetry. Again, he thought he was special. But she'll have her name written in the stars, right? She'll be up there with like Hercules and all those guys. And this is not an unusual image used, right? Where, a poet declares to his beloved that he will, his verse will make her live forever. Right? Now, ironically, her name is not mentioned in this poem.
Yeah.
But this is not unusual. What is kind of out there is the next couple lines, right? Where when his death shall all the world subdue, so after the entire world dies, our love shall live. So it's not just the memory living on, right? If you think kind of in the Greek context of living forever was you're remembered forever on earth. It's not just that, it's that it is still alive and later life renew. So it is restorative, it's creative in and of itself. It is divine. Through the power of what? Well, love, but also him writing it down, right? I don't know if that's true, but that's a nice sentiment, right? Also, he has a pretty high view of himself. But that's what he wants to do, right? He's convinced their love is so powerful, they can do all this stuff. Right? Now, okay, yeah. We'll stop there. Questions on Amoretti 75? Okay, your homework. 2 things for homework. One, you will read the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 poems from Shakespeare in this packet. Good old Billy Shakes.
That's just the rest.
Yeah, it'll be the rest of the poems, rest of the sonnets. Again, come to class prepared to talk about them. We'll be watching some videos next class. It'll be great. The second thing is you need to get on Turnitin. There will be a document, like there'll be an assignment to submit. You need to get up on there and just submit a document with just your name and all of that jazz. Okay? So, class ID, enrollment key. Now, the other thing we need to do today is you need to tell me which of the sonnets in this packet you are going to memorize. Our first memory for this semester. Okay? It's on the syllabus. I got an email. So
On the 24th, that's the day.
That's just when we choose it.
Well, it actually said to choose it last week, and it says to read it. I was just reading a side poem.
Skylar, which of these do you want to memorize?
Out of the 30?
Out of all of them.
Oh, wait, I don't know.
You can choose Shakespeare ones too.
Oh, okay. I will.
Welcome back to you,
I'll do the
Jaylee. Wait, what do you want?
The soup season. That's the one I was.
Multiple people can do them. Jaylee?
The soup.
Bowling?
Sonic 19.
Good.
Wait, are we anything in this book or just one?
Any of the sonnets out of this packet? Carter?
Amaretti 75.
Very good. Lauren John. Okay. Noah.
I'll do Sonnet 19.
Okay. Hirschberger.
Who's still listed on?
Leah. Okay.
You
Yep.
say the sweet, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sweet.
Sweet.
I thought it was sweet.
Sweet.
I thought it was
It could be Sutta if you wanted to do, because it's the same out of Canterbury Tales with one that's brew with a sure is Sutta. It's the same word. Yeah.
What is it?
Ryan. Interesting. Christina. Mm-hmm. Nathan.
We'll go Sonnet 116.
Okay.
And it says on the 8th of September restoration. Is that what this is?
Ask me after class. Did you pick one?
Yeah, I'm gonna do the Edmund Spencer one.
Okay. Okay. For you, it'll just make a video of yourself reciting it on the day it's due. Or we can do it over Zoom. One of those. We'll sort it out when we get closer.
All right.
Cool. We are finished. So I'll see you later. You have a good rest of your